Hey everybody, Corey here with CDS Automotive. Today, I just wanted to bring you along to share a few tips and tricks that I've learned over the years when it comes to undercoating services. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you know I'm in South Central Wisconsin. I'm pretty heavily invested in the Rust Belt here. So naturally, when winter rolls around, we get a lot of salt, a lot of brine that's spread on the roads. And naturally that causes issues with vehicles rusting out, corroding, etc. So I use a product called fluid film, which I'm sure many of you have probably heard about, but if you haven't, this product was actually first manufactured and designed in the early 40s for marine applications. Cargo ships, the U.S. Navy used them for a long time. They may still use them for submarines, stuff like that. NASA's used it. John Deere uses it. A lot of heavy hitters in different industries approve of this product for rust and corrosion protection and the inhibitor properties of it. So I've been spraying this for, I don't know, roughly probably 10 years now, I guess. I started out with the aerosol cans. The aerosol cans work great. I still use it almost daily, working on vehicles for door hinges and hood latches, tailgate pins, tailgate latches, stuff like that, and it's fantastic. So I first started out using aerosol cans, and it worked. You know, the investment wasn't too much. You just pitched the can when you were done, and away you went. But I soon found out that the hard to reach areas in the vehicle were pretty tough to get the can up in or a hose long enough. I believe fluid film has a top piece with a hose that comes off for a little bit further reach. So I quickly adopted the spray gun setup, and I've used several different spray guns over the last however many years, and this one right here is the best that I've come across. It's actually a Woolwax branded gun. The gun itself is made in Italy. The kit comes with the wands and a couple of bottles. I just ended up buying a few more bottles, which if you're on the fence about it, I think it's their Pro Kit is what they call it, but I would highly recommend it. They're not a sponsor to me, nor is Fluid Film, but this gun works extremely well, and their bottles are roughly a quarter gallon a piece, so I can track and monitor how much product I'm using, which is fantastic. This is a sub $50 gun off of Amazon. I'm not mad because, you know, everybody says you get what you pay for, and that was absolutely true. The quality's not that great. It doesn't apply the product very well or consistent, and every time you run out, you have to unscrew the cup and refill it and then go back to what you're doing. Where here I can just spin the cap off, put another bottle on, and we just keep going down the line. So way more efficient with that versus that. But, you know, to each his own. I know I'm under $150 for this setup here, and I was under $50 for that setup. And the Woolwax gun also came with the wands for the deep reach, as I like to say. So you make the decision what best works for you if you're doing it or if you're looking at getting into it. I know you can also brush this stuff on, but for automotive applications, I didn't see that as a viable option for myself at all. So I've never tried rolling or brushing this on for whatever that's worth, and I don't plan on doing it either. So the wands are nice. Let that focus there. It comes with a 360, so frame channels, subframes, rocker panels, wheel wells, stuff like that. Atomizes nicely. Even consistent coverage is great. And then this one is just a straight nozzle, just a long reach. So again, the deep reach areas are a lot more easily accessible with that setup versus the aerosol. The other thing I found is that you always want to, if you're buying it in a 5-gallon pail or a gallon or 55 gallons, I always mix it thoroughly first. I just use a drywall mud cheap mixer on a drill. It works well for me. And then when I'm not using the rest of the bottles, I always fill these up before I start on the vehicle. I put some hot water in a 5-gallon pail. I like the kitty litter pails because they got lids that can close, so we kind of keep the heat in there. But if you warm the product, I found that it applies way more evenly and consistent, which means you've got more even coverage, obviously, and your product seems, I've noticed the product seems to go further, which is great. So you kind of avoid the big globby spots and then some of the spots where there's not a lot of product. So it's a little more consistent. And it just costs you a little bit of hot water and a bucket. So warm the product. I found that helps a lot. I warm it every time now, even if it's warm out, just to maximize the product, get the best coverage and all that. Now, the other trick I've came across, this wasn't my idea for what it's worth. Erico from South Main Auto does undercoating services, and he had mentioned that adding these scented oils was a good idea. And if you've got experience with fluid film, it's a lanolin-based product, so it's got an odor to it. And some people don't mind, and some people mind. Which is okay. I mean, when you open up a pail, it can be strong. So my wife had some peppermint essential oil, and I just added that in with the product. Fluid film states that if the product's too thick and warming it doesn't help, that you can add like a vegetable oil to thin it out even more. So you're not going to hurt anything by putting a few drops of, or however much you want, of oil in there. I chose peppermint in the hopes that it would deter rodents. And it smells better than, just the base product. So it really cuts on the smell. I believe it's going to be a rodent deterrent, which is a double plus there. So that's good. So I just wanted to share those tips and tricks that I found that kind of make the process go a little easier, a little smoother, better coverage for the same amount of product and all that. So again, a quality sprayer, warm product. You can cut the smell with some your scent preferred oil. Aerosol is okay, but I think it lacks in some areas. But it's better in other areas. So I use a combination of the two. And I find that works very well for me and does the job very, very well. So if you guys offer this service in your shop, or you're a DIYer and you do the service or on the fence about it, leave a comment. I'd love to read it. Love to hear other stories. I found it to be an absolutely fantastic product. So thanks for watching, guys. And if you could subscribe, share the channel, and hopefully, I'll continue to bring you along with these videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.